Hi everyone. Today I'm talking to Stephan today. He runs Devoxx Belgium, which we're at today, and he also founded Devoxx4Kids, my favorite kids organization. Is there anything I missed here?
No, that's basically it. Yeah,
So, I care about Devoxx4Kids the most.
I can imagine.
Can you tell me about how you founded it?
Well, it was actually, I think it was 11 years ago, and I have a son, and he came to me and he said, like, Dad, I want to learn to program. And when they come with that type of question, as a father, you fall off your chair. You go like, "What? He's interested in programming?" But I did some research, and there were almost no books on programming or any workshops online for children, especially where he speaks only Dutch, right? So even there, it's even more limited. So I told him, I said, like, you know what? I'll do a Devoxx4Kids just for you. So I started this initiative where like-minded adults, but also children, were looking to play with technology, not only programming, but robotics, etc. And that basically spawned this movement where Devoxx4Kids got picked up by other enthusiasts who come to the big Devoxx4Kids, like Stephan Janssen, your father, but also Arun Gupta and many others. And before we knew it, every weekend there were Devoxx4Kids happening around the world.
I mean, I definitely saw that on my side. I grew up in the Bay Area, and we had the Devoxx4Kids Bay Area chapter. I think I was only like 10 years old, but I remember Devoxx4Kids would happen every weekend, and I attended the workshops frequently with one of my school friends.
Nice,
So I
nice.
think that's one of the ways, probably the most important one, which got me into technology.
Yeah,
And I also took on teaching kids workshops
nice.
because of Devoxx4Kids.
Yeah, well, that was really also a side effect, which wasn't the original plan where I wanted to just have my son be enthusiastic about technology, but we also then saw that there were many more girls attending these workshops than the women here at Devoxx. So there was like a huge opportunity to have these, in Belgium it was like 40% girls, to like, that's the perfect time to inspire them and to go into the STEM type of science and hopefully push them in that direction. So that was a nice side effect, and then all of a sudden we saw that this was a big opportunity as well. So you saw that traction and that movement towards also getting girls on board.
I'm surprised to hear that the gender ratio was also good worldwide.
Well, on for Devoxx4Kids, yes, but like for the big Devoxx or the Devoxx for big kids, I used to call it, you see that there are less women here in Belgium. But for example, in Morocco, where we have Devoxx Morocco and also Devoxx4Kids Morocco, it's almost 50-50. 50% women, 50% men. So it's like also a culture thing. Yeah.
I remember like a lot of the workshops at Devoxx4Kids, the workshops weren't just for boys. There were also like arts and crafts projects, which are more tailored for, I guess, not just girls, but more girls.
Yeah, yeah. No, but that was the beauty of having so many people doing the workshops, and they're all open source. We could fine tune it, adjust it with feedback from yourselves and others to make it really, synced with what the need was from the community.
So your son enjoyed Devoxx4Kids.
He did, and then after a year he said like, "Nah, it's not for me." And I was like, "Oh, come on! I've tried so. I maybe tried too hard, right? So it's like if you push too hard, they will just go in the opposite direction." He did still go. He's very good in mathematics, so he did do industrial engineering. So he is launched, but he's not a programmer. I think he saw me as a too big competition, and maybe he just went to the other side, which is totally fine. But that's why I was so, like yesterday during the opening keynote, my wife had actually arranged that he would go and introduce me at the key, and I wasn't aware of that. And he had like this picture of Devoxx4Kids where he said this quote where, "Dad, I want to learn to program." And I was like, "What's happening?" And I was really emotional, I mean, because I didn't know if this was happening. So I had to really, how would I say that, reset my attitude to go on stage, because I could have cried on stage if I would have let myself go. But that was nice. I mean, him being the activation of Devoxx4Kids, then you talking after me about your experience and so on. It was a really nice, really nice
I
talk.
found that to be inspirational. I mean, even if you were breaking down inside, I feel like that helps me and the audience connect with you better.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah, but you did an amazing job. It was really a nice overview, and also the shout out to Arun Gupta's son, and so on, and Kevin Nielsen. It's also connect. It's like the proud fathers and mothers, and then we see our daughter and dad and sons. Like the circle is round, right? It's like
It
full
wasn't
circle.
intentional. I didn't know everyone would be here, but it's just the story of my life. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I watched them when I was little, and now they're older.
Yeah.
Like, Devoxx4Kids has just had such a huge impact.
Yeah, wow, it's amazing. It's amazing.
For the founding of Devoxx Belgium, I mean, we're at this conference now. How did you start this up?
So I actually, as you can see from my age, and as you introduced me as well, like the old guy, I started the Java user group, the Belgium Java user group in '97, and we had like monthly meetings. And then after a couple of years, we said like, oh, we would love to do an annual event. So I started Java Polis because this happens here in Kinepolis, so that was an easiest brand name. So in 2001, we started in this venue. And yeah, it's been now running for 25 years. We had 2 years that we skipped because of COVID. And in 2008, we rebranded Java Polis because of the Java trademark. We had to rebrand it to Devoxx. And Devoxx, Vox is voice, dev developer, so the voice of developers. And yeah, that's
This
basically
is
it.
my first time here, and this is the first time I've been to a conference at a theater.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's a nice setting, right? I mean, the screens are amazing. The only downside is that the seating is a bit too comfortable. So if you're jet lagged, you're like, oh man, yeah, this is a nice talk, and off they go. They even in room 5, they even have at the front row, they have beds, which like it's an experiment. It's not our experiment. It's from the cinema. But of course, the attendees can enjoy these bets as well while watching a talk. So it's a bit strange, but I think the uniqueness is two things. The big screens, because that's beautiful, but the hallway. All the talks, if they end, they end up here in this hallway, as you can see, and you're going to run into people multiple times a day, which is very important for networking and collaboration. If you go to these big, like Moscone, you could be running around and never see each other. So it has a very good vibe and a very good infrastructure, but the toilets, the restrooms are not equipped to handle 3,000 people. That is a downside.
I noticed that like the hallways are wide, but I think even the Moscone has wide hallways, but like this is the only hallway in the conference,
Yeah.
except for the one downstairs.
Yes.
I think that really separates it from traditional conferences
Yeah.
with like a complicated layout.
Yeah, agreed. And we're very, very lucky that we have this exhibition floor downstairs. A lot of the cinemas, they don't have that. So as a result, they need to put sponsors in the hallway. But here, we have an extra room for all the sponsors.
I feel like you're always on the cutting edge of technology. I mean, you showed me a tour of the catwalk like 2 days ago, and I remember there was this room with like 10 laptops
Yes.
ongoing and processing transcriptions.
Yes. Well, so it's two things that those two. Well, first of all, it's a tech conference, so this is the perfect place to actually do R&D and test things out and experiment and so on. And one of the new things that we've done this year is that we've already been doing live transcripts. So we actually. When you speak, you actually see the transcripts on the cinema screen, and that's because we have some people who have problems with hearing. So then at least they can just see what's being told. But the thing I did this year is I've also added an application where I'm turning the audio into text every 30 seconds. I add it to a JSON file every 10 minutes, and then I send it to the server to do key insights. So while the talk is going, you can go to the new mobile app, which I vibe coded with AI, and you can already see the key takeaways while the talk is happening. Or you can see like a 3-dimensional graph of how the relationships are, and that's like, and purely vibe coded. I didn't touch any code. I just prompt and did spec to code, etc. And these days you can be so productive. If you have crazy ideas, you can really materialize them in a rainy weekend.
I remember about 6 months ago, I was at KubeCon, and they had transcriptions for the keynote and important talks.
Yeah.
But like with this AI technology, I was really wondering, why can't they just automate it and have the AI generate live transcriptions?
Absolutely.
So like coming here, it was almost like a dream to me to
Oh,
see it actually done. Someone did it
yeah,
and it's happening.
it is happening.
So I really hope that other conferences can follow your path.
And it's a very low tech solution. I mean, it's all open source. I mean, I did write it in Python because I'm using OpenAI's Whisper. I'm using the Tiny model, which allows you to really very rapidly turn the audio into text, and then you send it to a server and you do some analysis with Gemini or whatever you want. So it's not rocket science. This was maybe not possible a couple of years ago, but now you have all these new opportunities that you can do. It's just having the stamina to build it.
It wasn't just the transcriptions, which I was surprised at. I mean, you showed me the projectors in the movie cinema
Yes.
realm. Like, those were so huge and expensive, and you had your own 4K projectors brought
Yeah.
in.
Well, I like to push the audio video team to the limits because, like come on, you don't use an HD projector if you have such big rooms, right? I wanted to have an 8K projector, but yeah, they're way too expensive. So I really pushed them to have 4K, so we have really high definition projection. There's an interesting anecdote about that. I think when we introduced the 4K projectors, they were starting the keynote with 4 rooms. And during the keynote, they had to start the projectors in the other rooms because they have like 8 rooms. But they had done a miscalculation of the energy it needs when they have 10 projectors running. So in the middle of the keynote, the fuse broke and we had no electricity left. So that was also a learning experience of doing bleeding edge.
Yeah, that's just the craziest story I've heard, but it's a memory which you will
Yes.
remember.
Yeah, it's an anecdote. And we got plenty of those, but that would fill up your whole podcast if I would go into
And
that.
even the Wi-Fi, like you set up your own cables to have like really high-speed internet for the attendees.
Yes.
That's even today. That's something I still don't see all conferences do.
Well, the problem, like with this cinema, is that they have Wi-Fi for the cinema attendees, but it's very, very low bandwidth, etc. If you have 3,000 people in one room and they all want to watch YouTube, they want social, they want to tweet about it, you need to make sure that they can go online. So yeah, we've introduced the fiber cable into this building. That cable is now fixed, it stays here, but all the access points is something we do every year. We have a company who does this for us. It's expensive, but it's worth the while.
I think we appreciate that.
I can imagine.
And also, like, you developed a new mobile app just for this conference. I mean, I took a look at it and the website, and it just works so well. Things work.
Thank you.
How did you do it?
So I wanted to experiment with vibe coding. So I started in July, and the first thing was like, okay, you know what? I will just do prompting. I will not even look at the code, and let's see how far I can get. And after 2 weeks, I had 90% of the functionality, but the last 10% it just didn't work. And when I looked at the code, I had created a Frankenstein. It was a monster. It was really badly organized, etc. So I said, okay, I'm going to redo it, start from scratch. I'll do it in Angular, and I will really look at the code that it produces so I can at least guide it. So I turned into a technical project leader where I have all these agents working for me. And I must say, in 2 months, it did take 2 months to get all the functionality. I do have a working version, and it's been stress tested this week, and it seems to work. There's still a few bugs here and there, but you know, I've got a foundation now to work upon and add new features.
Yeah, I think that's interesting that you like went through vibe coding, but there's still that human element. You had to go in yourself.
Yes, I think that is the reality. I mean, we are at a stage where if you can build a small game in the evening and not even look at the code and it will work. I demonstrated that in the keynote. But if you do a more enterprise application, you do still need to take control of it. This might change. I mean, if we are on an exponential, this might really change in a couple of months or a year, where it is smart enough based on the specification that it creates a perfect application with all the unit tests, etc. But we're not there yet.
Your example with vibe coding, that really small bouncy ball game, that really hit me. Like, because you know, kids, they're on their phone, they're playing these mobile games, but mobile game development, I always felt like there's such huge teams behind it now,
Yeah.
which have to go into development.
Yeah.
But you just created it in one evening.
Yes, in one evening. And I didn't even look at the code. And it was just out of frustration that I always had these advertisements pop up. So I said, okay, I'll do my own version. And it's just possible. I mean, just think about the opportunities you now have. I mean, if you have a creative idea, you don't need a team of 10 people. You can do it yourself in a few weekends and have a product. And I could maybe even put it online and have a passive income with advertisements if I add to it. So, but I've heard about, this is now called slopware. They have like this new term, like you have slop images, which is basically images created by AI, and software created by AI is now called slopware. So were you aware of that term?
No, it's the first time I've heard of
Okay,
it.
yeah, it seems that's the new term. So you can create slopware as games, and who knows where it ends.
So I think hopefully this can be a new connecting point for connecting kids on what they see on their mobile devices to development.
We have a talk here, and I forgot to say that in the keynote. There's two parents here, and the title of the talk is like, what we've used to learn for 20 years, our kids now do in 20 prompts. And it's two proud dads talking about how their children are creating games just by prompting. Basically what I'm doing, without really knowing how to code. Which opens up, I hope, the Pandora's box where they will go closer and deeper to the code and try to understand what happens, so they also become a developer by just prompting.
I hope so. I think just by prompting, it gives you very quick results.
Yes.
Even if that's might not what you want to develop in the future, like for a kid seeing technology for the first time, you want it to be fun.
Yes.
In that very short moment, it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the enterprise, you can do MVPs, very fast now. You can do prototyping very fast, and also use that as a sounding board for the customer. So I told that also in the keynote, developers will not be replaced by AI. Developers will be replaced by developers using AI, because you have to embrace it. And that's why also at Devoxx Belgium here, I really try to get all the AI talks, the enthusiasm about agents and Java, etc., to hopefully inspire developers, because there's a lot of companies who are a bit afraid of this movement, and they're still not looking at it, but they have to embrace it. There's huge new opportunities with it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Great.
So I'm always like really excited, especially now, to see what you do in the future. You're just so at the cutting edge, always doing what's new. It's like if I can think of it, you've probably done it.
Yeah, well, the good thing about organizing this event is that I work as a sponge, because people come to me and say, oh, Stephan, have you thought about this, or have you done? And they inspire me, and then I try, because after Devoxx Belgium I have 4 months downtime, so I can do like research, I can hack and try out things, look at the talks, which I've missed a lot of them, of course, as the organizer. So it's a time for reflection, but also to experiment and then introduce it again in the next Devoxx edition.
Yeah, that seems to work really well.
It works really well. And the cool thing is, I don't have to wait for Devoxx Belgium. There's other Devoxxes around the corner in other countries where they will immediately use it and also come up with feedback. Like in Devoxx France, we have 4,500 people at Devoxx France. It's all in French, so you need to know French, but they're very creative as well. They come with new ideas, and it's just going like that.
Yeah, it's amazing how many Devoxx events have spun off of just this.
Yes, yeah. I think we have 6 or 7. I lose track, and we have about 10 or 12 Fox Days, and in total, every year we have 20,000 developers coming to these events. 20,000. That's just crazy.
It is.
Yeah. And the one I'm proud of is that we even have a Vox Days in CERN. CERN, where they have the collider, they do research for the Big Bang, so to speak, and they have like an IT conference there, and it's Vox Days CERN. Vox Days is like the smaller version of Devoxx. If there are less than 1,000 people, we call it the Vox Days, and it happens every year at CERN, which is like the mecca of science.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
It's been really great talking to you today, Stephan.
Likewise, Kaza. And thank you for the really great keynote. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it makes me happy to see that you actually liked it.
I really did. Make sure you watch it.
Thank you.